Hi guys, my name is Moran. Welcome to another episode of Getting Personal, where I gather different stories for you from Reddit. And today we've got a bit of a more serious theme, or should I say creepy one, because today I'm reading you some stories about people being very stalkery. Scary. This is the whole premise, so I don't think I need to explain myself anymore. Get comfy, turn the lights off if you want to be more creeped out, and let's dive in. Am I the for following my friend home to offer her a ride? I met a girl on a dating site and we quickly became friends. We talked for about a day back and forth for a few hours and we exchanged numbers and I saved hers in my phone and I began texting her. However, she was very inconsistent and then we followed each other on social media. After a few days of talking to her, she got more distant and vague for no explanation at all and would give short if no responses at all. I tried calling her to see if everything was okay and she didn't respond. Okay, I gotta pause here. Guys who do that, stop. If the girl is not replying to you as often as she did before and you literally just met and you are on a text type of basis, don't try to call her. You're making things worse. If a person is not as eager to contact you, it means that they probably just don't like you that much or they're busy. Either way, just wait and see. If they're busy, they will get back to you. If the option is that they don't really like you that much, then calling makes it worse. Much, much worse. She lives about 15 miles from me and yesterday I was getting something to eat and I saw her walking home and I followed her home and I asked her if she wanted a ride, which she declined and gave me a weird look, but I am assuming she was just having a bad day. She definitely started to have a bad day when you followed her home like a creepy ass murderer type of person. I want to look for her tomorrow because I miss her. However, a few of my friends think I should leave her alone, but this is a friend of mine and I don't feel comfortable with her walking around at night without having a ride. Okay, so Reddit really quickly came to the conclusion of what you're missing is that you are being the creepy person in this situation. If you don't know a girl well and she's not showing you signs of reciprocating your affection and the same level of attraction, just don't follow her. Don't try to find her. Like, what is this? I want to look for her tomorrow because I miss her. You're being so scary right now. Do not look for a woman who is not responding to you, who doesn't seem to be very interested in you. Why would you do that? You met on a dating app and just texted for a few days. You're not her friend. You're just a random person she started talking to and probably realized that she's not interested. And you are refusing to let it go. And I think what is very important for a lot of men to realize is that you have to let women go when they don't want to be with you. If she tells you she doesn't want to have a relationship, if she pulls away, and if she's not being very excited and eager about you, let her go. Stop pestering her. It is also likely that she's not telling you straight up to your face to fuck off because we are kinda sorta scared of men and of their reactions when they're getting rejected. You never know what happens when they get angry. One time I rejected a guy who tried to approach me on social media and I was like, I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend, I'm very not interested. And instead of being like, yeah, okay, fine, he was like, yeah, you're a so he posted my pictures on random groups where people just shame girls. So they just like post their pictures to those groups and they're like, oh, look at that I didn't even say anything mean to him, and he did that. So imagine how scary it is to actually reject a person face to face, because guys sometimes be nuts and you never know what he can do if he gets rejected. Anyways, let's move on. Stop being creepy like that. Am I the for throwing out a girl's present for me in the trash and calling her a creepy? I, 18 male, am a senior in high school, and this creepy girl, female 18, has been following me around for the past few months. I've caught her recording me multiple times, and one of my friends showed me this entire invasive Tumblr page she made of edited pictures of me and her as a couple. Why would you put that on the internet? I get you're being creepy, but like, why do you have to also share it with people? It's strange to me. I've tried confronting her before and telling her to stop following me around, but she always scampers off when I start talking to her and telling her off. I had to block her on various social media after she sent me detailed DMs about her weird fantasies of me. I've tried reporting her to my dean with her DMs, but he's completely useless and my parents don't care at all about how she's creeping me out. They think I should be flattered. Oh yes, should be flattered, because it is scary when girls get stalked, but it is charming and quirky when guys get stalked because he's just so attractive the girl cannot hold it in her pants, right? I hate this. Men also deserve help in these situations. A few weeks ago, she came up to me with this small box of cupcakes during lunch. Now, I know she ditched class to come stalk me and find out which cafeteria space I was sitting in for lunch because my friend has physics class with her during my lunch period. I was extremely pissed off that she was approaching me again, so I told her I didn't want her gift and to leave me alone. She kept mumbling sorry, but tried to force the box into my hands or lap. I finally stopped resisting, and as soon as she backed off, I said, "Jesus, you creepy bitch." Took the cupcake box to the nearest garbage can and shook it empty into the bin and chucked the box in too. She started crying and ran off, and my friends were half laughing at the situation and half calling me savage and heartless. However, one of my friends texted me later and she said my reaction was extremely cruel and uncalled for. Am I the asshole? Reddit said not the so I would say a little bit, just a little bit, but mostly not. She's being terrifying, and I completely get you because, as any normal person, you wouldn't enjoy when someone follows you around and records you and does these strange photoshopped pictures of you two together and then tries to force gifts upon you. I think this is just crossing a lot of lines. While I do think this girl might just be very infatuated with you and maybe she just is very socially awkward, she doesn't know how to communicate, but it's still creepy as shit. Do I think you were a bit too cruel when saying that and throwing the cupcakes away while everybody could see it and right in front of her? Yes, I think that was cruel because that girl clearly has problems, but I also kind of get why you did that. I had a couple of creepy people who would stalk me and just behave very weirdly, and I've been cruel to them at some points because you get to this moment where you just realize that there is nothing that can actually stop this person, and that is a scary realization because once you tried reasoning, once you tried arguing, you tried avoiding them, you come to the point where you're like, okay, so they're never gonna leave me alone, and then aggression comes in because you not only are scared yourself, but you want to protect yourself, because usually the stalkers, right, they escalate. It's not just like you will have this person follow you around for 10 years. That's not how it works. They usually just get worse and worse and worse. Now she gives you cupcakes, tomorrow she's gonna break into your car, in a week she's gonna break into your house or something. There is likely no good way to go about it, and since you tried everything, I would say this is the last resort that you had. Oh, the police is obviously not going to do anything about it, and Dean is not doing anything about it. Parents are super unhelpful, which I found outrageous because, come on, guys. Girls can be scary and dangerous too, okay? Let's not forget that. Let's not forget about Jodi Arias, who just was this super cute little angel and then murdered her boyfriend in an extremely brutal way. And before that, she did stalk him. And it's not the only case, so let's not forget that. Moving on. Am I the asshole for reporting creepy neighbors' cameras without talking to him first? I am a woman in my 20s and recently moved houses. I live on my own. My new next door neighbors are a middle-aged couple who are extremely religious. I am not going to mention what religion they are, but they are on the more fundamentalistic side of their religion. We've had amazing weather lately, and I've been spending a lot of my time in my garden, chilling or working on my laptop, wearing shorts and t-shirts or summer dresses. Just normal clothes. I haven't even really met my neighbors until one day the woman, Myra, rang my doorbell. To my surprise, she asked me to start covering up that she has a husband and growing boys and I shouldn't be showing my body. That man can't help but look, and it's our women's responsibility to cover our bodies. Off. It's the same apologist argument that they like to throw around, that you get assaulted because men can't help it. They can't help it. They just see a pretty girl, they assault a pretty girl. This is not how it works. These men are adults, okay? Her husband is a adult who should be capable of controlling himself, and it's definitely not OP's responsibility to do anything about it. It's not her responsibility to cover herself up in her own residence because men can't help but look. You all of y'all. It's just making me angry every single time I see this argument. I can't take it. This is stupid. I told her that no, and that men are perfectly capable of not looking, and perhaps she should teach her husband and sons that they shouldn't be creeps, and I closed the door. Nice. While I haven't noticed anything earlier, now I was on high alert, and whenever I was in the garden, I noticed someone in their house was often creeping on me through the window. Ew. One day, I was coming home from shopping and saw the husband installing a camera facing my garden. I could see another one facing my living room. It was creepy to say the least, and I decided to get my own camera because I wasn't feeling safe. This just looks like a lot of trouble to go into to get off, okay? I mean, I realize that he's religious and porn is bad, but creeping on your neighbor is also bad, but it doesn't seem to stop him. Well, turns out it was a good idea because the husband was a major peeping Tom. Gross. Turns out that whenever his wife left at night, I often stay up late, he would come and try to sneak a peek through my window. Mostly my downstairs bathroom. I hate this so much. I ended up reporting him to local authorities, not the police, for the cameras because you can't have them facing someone else's property where I live. They made him take them down, and the woman came over shouting at me how I lied about her husband, and they got in trouble, and she called me various names for the oldest profession in the world. Of course she did. It is not his problem for being a perv. I mean, it's just the way it is, and it's you, a terrible harlot, a morally rotten creature of the night, a succubus who's just getting to her husband and calls in her siren voice for him to come to the dark side. Of course, she claimed that it was a safety camera and I should have talked to them first and they would have sorted it out and I didn't have to get the authorities involved. But frankly, after the last conversation we had, I didn't feel comfortable speaking with them. I am now considering reporting him for peeping as well, but I'm wondering, am I the for reporting them for cameras without speaking to them first? Girl, he is peeping into your windows. You should go to the police and report them not only for the cameras, but also for him coming over and trying to look at you naked in your own home. This is terrifying behavior. So no, not the ass, and the Reddit also agrees. The next story I've got for you today is, am I the ass for telling a customer that his way of flirting was creepy and he should never tell a woman what he told me? I, 24 female, work in a smoke shop. Most of my customers are well-mannered and super respectful. Being the only woman who works in the shop, I do get a fair amount of customers flirting with me. We all work alone on our shift for the most part unless hours are split. A couple of weeks ago, I had a male customer come in around 8 p.m. As I greeted him, the first words out of his mouth were, "I love your skin. You are so beautiful, and I'd commit a crime for you." I would literally just mace him and run. You sound like you want to make a suit out of my skin. Immediately, I got uncomfortable and did a nervous chuckle as I said, "This is really creepy. Please don't ever tell a woman that ever again." He immediately got quiet, purchased his items, and left. A few days later, he came back sort of angry and told me it's women like me that make it hard for men and other women to date. Of course, because men should be able to go around and be horrifying and serial killery, and we should all just think it's cute and appreciate the attention, especially the unwanted one, because you should be flattered that he would commit a crime for you, okay? And how I was a who couldn't take a compliment and that he would be watching me. So, am I the for standing up for myself? For those of you that may ask, the night in question, I was wearing a baggy sweatshirt and sweatpants. This is super scary. I've always been very sympathetic of women who have to work on the jobs where they encounter customers and on a regular basis at night, and when they're left alone, whether it be a bar, a restaurant, whatever, I wouldn't be able to do that because I am just way too scaredy pants to handle this. No, not the ass at all. Reddit also served, not the ass. Edit, since posting this, the person has been banned and he has not come back since the day he made the threat. I also can't really report it to the police because I don't have his name or any identifying information aside from his face, which security is on the lookout for. Well, I'm at least glad that you have like security and that everybody is on your side and got alerted about this. Hopefully that man will move on. Some of them will threaten you and then just leave you be because they will see another girl with prettier skin and get obsessed with them. It is super sad, but there is nothing really to be done in this situation. And we're moving on to the next creepy story, and they just seem to be getting worse, so get ready. Creepy dude came at me in the ladies' bathroom. My friend and I met up for dinner and dancing last night. We had dinner and then went to a nearby pub that's well known for great music and a dance floor. We had some issues with this creepy guy immediately. He was dancing behind us and we moved away from him several times, and we thought it might have been a coincidence he was always behind us and coming up to us. Oh no, it's never a coincidence. We went outside to get away and he also came outside. We went back in and he was there again. He was acting really drunk, but I asked him to please move away from us as he's making us uncomfortable. He suddenly snapped out of his drunken hazed look and very sternly said no. We decided to go to the bar and the other end of the pub for a bit, then went back to the dance floor. My friend said she was going to the bathroom, so I said I'd wait for her where I was. I watched her go and then suddenly he was right against me. I decided I'd meet my friend in the bathroom to get away from him, and he followed me into the bathroom. I told him he's in the ladies and he shouted saying he doesn't care and he can do what he wants as he was coming towards me. I shouted at him to get out and he took a step back but then shouted that he could do whatever he wants and kept coming at me. I raised both my hands and shouted at him to stop and get the out. He was millimeters away from me, growling over me, and then someone came out of the bathroom stall and all three of us shouted for him to get out and he angrily retreated. We told bar staff and he was eventually removed. He hid in the garden and then kicked up a fuss and tried to get back in multiple times. My friend and I kept saying we wouldn't let it ruin our evening, but it absolutely did, and I'm so gutted that another creepy guy has ruined another night. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard for something like this not to ruin your night because this is terrifying. You literally got assaulted for like no reason by another creepy dude. I don't know how there are so many stories like this. I don't know how long we're gonna have to deal with this behavior. By the end of this episode, I will tell my biggest stalker story. I've had a couple of stalkers, and I think I'm pretty sure I have one now, but it's like online type of thing person. But this is scary. And the fact that I'm sitting here and being like, oh, I'm just gonna tell you later my favorite stalker story, and I've had multiple of those, is terrifying. What world do we live in that so many women have these stories? Like, what the is this hellhole we call Earth? And moving on to the last story, would I be the asshole if I reported the delivery driver who keeps showing up at my door in the middle of the night? This is the most terrifying one today. Around the end of last year, one of the local fast food places started doing deliveries, and I, 38 female, took advantage of the convenience. Because I live in a small town, most of the time it was the same delivery guy, we'll call him Ronald, mid-40s male, bringing my food. And to begin with, it was fine. I'd smile, say hello, thank you, take my food, and all's good. In October, I got COVID. Wasn't too bad, but my voice was destroyed from coughing, and in the weeks after, I sounded pretty wretched. I guess something about me being sick made Ronald decide I wasn't okay in general because he got a lot more chatty after that, always asking how I was and telling me he cared about me. It was awkward, but I figured he was just being nice. Anyway, mid-November, he showed up at my door at almost 3 a.m. I'm a night owl, so I was still up, and there he was, visibly drunk, kinda swaying in place, going on about how he'd been walking home and saw my lights on as he passed and decided to stop and chat. Now, I am a very anxious, non-confrontational person by nature. With a strange man at my door, the last thing I wanted to do was antagonize, so I just smiled, nodded along with what he was saying, and tried to get him to leave. He asked me to come inside, and I did shut that down quick, but otherwise I don't think I was very firm in asserting boundaries. He left after a few minutes, didn't get angry or scary or anything, just left me pretty shook up. I stopped ordering from that restaurant and didn't see him again until 2 months later when he appeared again around 2 a.m. This time I was in bed reading and didn't engage. I could hear him calling out, asking if I was awake and if I was okay. Then he left, muttering something to himself. It's been 4 months since then, and I let myself believe that it was all fine and he decided to stop bothering me. Yeah, right. Tonight at 11:30 p.m., I heard noises outside. Ronald is back, slamming the doorbell, calling out to me. I spoke to him through the door, told him that it wasn't okay to keep showing up and that if it happened again, I'd call the police. He just kept repeating that it was fine and left. I hate men who are being scary as shit and they're like, it's all fine, baby, we're just having fun. No, it's not fine. You're about to either rape me or kill me. I'm sorry, this is not fine. Now, a few hours later, I'm still sitting up wondering if I should do something this time. I'm not worried about him in the sense that I feel I'm in any danger. He's never actually done anything, but it makes me anxious, wondering if he's going to show up again, and so incredibly angry that he has the audacity to think this kind of behavior is okay. I don't want to make things hard for him and potentially cost him his job if I report him to his workplace, and until tonight, I wasn't super clear in telling him to leave me alone, but I feel like I shouldn't have to explain that knocking on a woman's door late at night when she's not expecting you is a bad thing, and after 3 times I can't just ignore this anymore. So would I be the if I reported him. No, you have to report him and to the police too, because this is terrifying. And the fact that you say that you don't feel that you're in any danger scares me even more, because you are in danger. Again, I will have to repeat it. It's going to get worse, because you can even see from the story that it gets worse. First, he showed up and he just chatted, but he also asked to come in, and then he left without getting angry, right? The second time he came, you didn't come to the door, so he started shouting for you. That's escalation. Third time he came and you wrote slamming the doorbell and calling out to you, and then he wasn't giving up until you said you will call the police. That is another escalation. Next time he might feel free to break in or wait for you by your door and then attack you or something like that. You should not wait for the moment until you actually feel that you are in danger, because then it might be too late. You never know with people like that. So anyway, these were all the stories I wanted to read for you today. They were real scary, but I think what we all can take away from this is that we always have to stay alert and never let your social awkwardness or unwillingness to be rude put you in the situation of danger, because with these people, the slightest signs of just being nice, they seem like you want to be his girlfriend and you want to be his wife. I used to have this really creepy subscriber who would just pester me non-stop. He started off with leaving comments on all of my videos, and they would be like book length comments, and then he would also leave comments on other social media on every single post, and then he slid into my DMs and he would not leave me alone. And I didn't want to be rude to him because, well, you know, he's just a subscriber, he likes my content, it's fine. Until things escalated to the point where he started a fight with another girl in my comments and basically said that feminism is worse than Holocaust. And I was like, no, you're banned right now, bye. So no, you should just stop that before it gets out of control. But anyway, I promised you my favorite stalker story that happened to me, and I'll share before I go. So I was, I believe, around 12, and as a lot of girls at that age, I already looked older than I am, though I still kind of dressed like a child. I was very innocent looking. I think that's what played a role in this whole story. I have blue eyes, my natural hair color is blonde, and I looked hella cute. I had these little chubby cheeks and plump lips and whatever, and I didn't look like a back then. So I was just, you know, a regular ass child. There was a guy living in my building who was 18. So he already went to the university. He had this huge group of friends his age. They would hang out by the building. So this was kind of the thing. I never really paid much attention to him. We did not talk ever because, I mean, I've never actually interacted that much with other people, like neighbors. We didn't have that thing. I was just walking around, minding my business, going to school, and I was going to school by myself because it was not that far from my house. It was like 15 minutes. My parents never escorted me there or anything because it was just like not a thing that you did with children who are older than like 8 to 10. So everything was fine. And then one day I start seeing this guy looking at me. Then it continued for quite some time where I would go home and I would see him just purposefully waiting for me. Even if he was with his friends, he would stare at me and I would feel really, really weird because after maybe like 2-3 weeks of just the staring, he started making comments, calling out to me and catcalling me. And I was real scared because it's a bunch of 18-year-old guys who look very sure of themselves. And I'm like a child. I was not happy about that, let's say. But I was still fine. I was like, okay, as long as they're just over there, I'm over here, it's fine. We don't need to worry, right? Wrong. That's why I'm saying you should always do something before it gets worse. So at some point, I am walking home and he approaches me, and I'm real scared because I remember he like approached me in a way that I was just like stuck in the corner. His friends were behind him. This whole ass like 5 grown guys, and he just stands over there. He was very tall, I think 6 feet or something. I was shorter, obviously, and he was like muscular. And he starts talking to me. I really like you. I think you're super cute. I've been watching you. You're so adorable and whatnot. Do you want to go on a date with me? And I was like, no. I got so scared and flustered. I just stuttered. I was like, no, I don't date. I'm sorry. Like, I'm too young for that. I'm not interested. I don't want to do anything. Then he starts being pushy. But I like you. I really like you. You will not regret, going out with me. And I was just like, no, just can you let me go? I want to go home. So then he probably saw that I was getting like real panicky and he let me go. I went home, told my parents, and they were obviously very confused. They're like, don't talk to him. If he approaches you again, just tell him no again and be careful. I was like, okay. So then not much later, I'm walking from school and he's waiting for me nearby my school in the car, cuts me off as I'm walking, and he's like, oh, let me give you a ride. And I'm like, hell no, I'd rather die than get into your car. And then he starts pushing me towards the car, and he's like, let me give you a ride. Come on, it's dangerous for a girl like you to walk all alone. And I'm like terrified by that point. I start walking away and he starts shouting after me. He's like, why are you so ridiculous? I really like you. I just want to take you out on a date. I'll give you some weed. I don't know why he thought it was like a great argument to tell a child. Anyway, so I just basically ran away, think he didn't chase me. But at that point, I was real freaked because I was like, he's now full on stalking me to my school and he's trying to like get me into his car. So I told my dad again, and then thankfully my dad, at some point when the guys were hanging out there by the apartment, he went out and talked to him, and that guy off. But things could have gone much worse. I could have just freaked out and got into the car. I could have thought that no, maybe it's fine, he'll just give me a ride. I do not know what would have happened if I got into that car. I am very thankful that I had enough of survival instincts to just run away and without trying to be cooperative, because sometimes they say if you think you're in danger, you should be like nice and cooperative and maybe they will go away. Not in these cases. I mean, he was trying to push me towards his car, so I was like, no, bye, running. Anyway, this is one of the worst stories I've had with like a long period stalker. Since then, I've had many more, and I don't know why I'm smiling. It's a trauma response. Be safe. Please report creepy people. And I will see you with another video real soon. Bye.